بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. كتاب الجامع باب الأدب من بلوغ المرام. كتاب بلوغ المرام. الحديث, the hadith that we're going to be starting with is قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال عن أبو هريرة لا يمشي أحدكم في نعل واحد ولينعلهما جميعا أو ليخلعهما جميعا. This hadith is etiquette and an amazing hadith as we're going to see, but the wording of it, the instruction is as follows. None of you should walk with one shoe, but should either wear them both or take them both off. As we have said, if you remember from the study of what we have shared with you, how the scholar they look to the order from Allah from the Prophet ﷺ, always regarded as an obligation, because the order, a command, which comes in a form, an imperative form. So any order from the Sharia, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or His Messenger, as it came in a way of a command, there it implies obligation. So this is the ruling. However, we said the majority of the scholar that anything from etiquette and adab, the order, they see it as mustahab or recommended, but not to the level of the wajib or fard. For this reason here, the author, who's like adhere to the first opinion, قال ظاهر النهي التحريم عن المشي في نعل واحد. It is, the wording of the hadith is stipulating, instructing that is forbidden, prohibited to walk in one shoe. وحمله الجمهور على الكراهة. See, the majority of the scholars, they say it's disliked. Now this is, it has a lot of analysis, but just to see why the difference of opinion, how to view the order without considering the context or the topic, which is the first opinion. The second opinion, they consider the topic and the context. So we are talking here about ibadah, then every order implies obligation. We are talking about etiquette, then every order implies recommended. Because when the order it's not observed, it implies punishment. That's why how the scholar, they come to divide into the categories of the type of the action that you're going to associate with them this way of deduction or evidence of dalala, that it leads to an obligation, or the other one that leads to recommended. Inshallah, study the usul fiqh, you'll get it. But it's good to understand the difference of opinion between the scholars. قال كأنهم جعلوا القرينة حديث الترمذي. And then actually they have another qarina, which qarina, it's another text that will be added to this hadith, that it give you another understanding. عن عائشة قال ربما انقطع شسع نعل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فمشى في النعل الواحدة حتى يصلحها. Sometimes when one of the laces of the shoes of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is ripped, he might be walking on one shoe till he'll find a way to fix it. إلا أن رجح البخاري وقفه على عائشة عن فعلها. However, Al-Bukhari said this is موقوف, hadith موقوف. So it is mean at the level of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So that might be قال رب, it might be, so she might not be sure, or she have seen it, but we do not have. Or it is from the action of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when we have hadith talking about the action of the Prophet, and then the saying of the Prophet, and they conflict, which one you advance? You advance the saying. Because the saying is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded to, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to convey. Okay? However, in his action, there's action that's specific for the Prophet, and action that people, he made it for people to learn from him. Like, صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِ أُصَلِّي خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. But many other things the Prophet ﷺ did them for himself. He said, do not follow me into the fasting, to continue the fasting. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يُطْعِمُنِي وَيُسْقِينِ. So when it comes to conflict between a hadith describing action of the Prophet, and hadith, it is the saying of the Prophet. We always advance the saying of the Prophet. وقد ذكر رزين عنها قالت رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ينتعل قائما ويمشي في نعل واحد. And it has been also mentioned in another hadith that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم did it. واختلفوا في علة النهي. واختلفوا في what is the reason of the prohibition? What is the reason of the prohibition? The reason of the prohibition, it might be we study what they're saying here and have some other insight which really to help. Why someone is prohibited to work in one shoe only? قال أولا النعال شرعت لوقاية الرجل عما يكون في الأرض من شوك ونحو فإذا انفردت إحدى الرجلين احتاج المشي أن يتوقع لإحدى رجليه ما لا يتوقع لأخر, which is mean the ni'al they made to someone protect his own feet from any harm, from walking on something that they're gonna harm them, hurt them. So it will not be suitable to have one and the other one protected and one is not shielded. فيخرج لذلك عن سجية مشيه ولا يأمن مع ذلك من العثار. So he gonna get out from the normal way that a person walking, and then he gonna be more likely, going to trip, because when someone is not balanced, he's going to trip. So then, not only protecting one feet, but they harm themselves. So kind of shielding and protection, one of the illah. وقيل إنها مشية الشيطان. The other illah, he said, it is the way of how the shaitan walking, like boastfully. So people, when they walk arrogant in a boastful way, they walk this way. And that's not right. I mean, you see them, many people, they do walk this way. So that's not the way, so it is the mishya that is not appropriate for the believer. وقال البيهقي والكراهة لما في ذلك من الشهرة في الملابس وقدر ما ورد في رواية لمسلم. And also the karaha in how things need to be put and how to wear them, because there is a whole etiquette in how to wear clothes. I mean, look at, for example, the women in Islam, the attire that they have, the same for the men. And you find, subhanAllah, it's a lot of things, when even how to put the turban, how long need to be, and how they should not be, for example, imitating the kuffar at the time or the people of the book, and so on. So there is etiquette. So in the etiquette and in this sunan, how to wear the things, the one shoe, it's not one of the etiquette. And it derives a person from their balance, it derives the person from being also seen as respected, because unless someone he's in accident or like something he lost his shoe or something else. وقال إذا انقطع وقد ورد في رواية لمسلم إذا انقطع شسع أحدكم فلا يمشي في نعل واحد حتى يصلحها. So this is a hadith that answering the other hadith. He said someone is like laces of his shoe is ripped, he should not walk in one shoe till he will fix the other one, then he will do it. وتقدم ما يعارضه من حديث عائشة فيحمل على الندب وقد ألحق بالنعلين كل لباس شفع كالخفين. And he said we already studied the other hadith that I have mentioned when Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam walk in one shoe. And this is hukum, this ruling will extend for anything that you wear. It has like impaired. For example, everything, like even for the leather socks, for the socks, you're not going to have one sock and the other one, Other things, subhanAllah, from the inside, from the scholars, especially the later scholars, they talk about something very important, which is, subhanAllah, the integrity of a person, and is kind of reflected from their way of walking. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. Do not walk boastfully on earth. The way of the Prophet ﷺ, he used to walk, and it's been described, was working and walk toward the purpose. So someone, they do not walk out the way of the Prophet ﷺ, not like to kind of hanging out and walking in a slow way and without anything in their mind. Now, the believer, subhanAllah, has a purpose in life. Therefore, everything needs to have a purpose. Where are you going? I'm going home. Therefore, you're going home, you go straight home. When you walk in a way that in a balanced way and heading toward home. some of the companions said it was very difficult for us to keep up with the Prophet ﷺ when he walked, because he walked to walk like in a fast pace. And fast pace reflects the sense of objective, the sense of purpose. So when someone walks, subhanAllah, in one shoe, he loses that balance. And we have the balance in everything. Ummah wasata, our deen is wasat. The way you do need to be wasat. And then your walk is part of who you are. So it reflects your personality, respect who you are. So a person, as a way of da'wah, even to be regarded as a Muslim, you should not walk in a way that will, draw the attention, but the attention in a negative way. Nobody say, "What a great walk." It's not a great walk, but someone walking, in balance. But this is one of the insight of the scholar, rahimahullah, especially the later one. It is part of the personality of the believers. So it is forbidden for someone to walk in one shoe, because it's to reflect the personality, to reflect the way how a person is being seen by people. A believer by nature are humble, right? Does not reflect humbleness. It might reflect negligence, might reflect showing off, might reflect boastfulness, but does not reflect humbleness. Therefore it is prohibited. قلت ولا يخفى أن هذا من باب القياس ولم تعلم العلة حتى يلحق بالأصل. He said this is by way of qiyas, analogy, measure, and referring some ahkam to other. But the illah, the true reason for which the hukum has been, initiated or done or made, it's not known. But the illah, it's one of the way of the scholars to know more insight and more wisdom. That's why you see many of the illah, and the latest one will be the most suitable for us to understand. We don't need, sometimes to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to understand the why, but to help us actually enhance many of the aspects in our personality, in our conduct. The next hadith عن ابن عمر قال رسول الله قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لا ينظر الله إلى من جر ثوبه خيلا. And this is very important hadith, because there is a lot of difference of opinion among the people when it comes to, it's either to make your qamis or your clothes short, or when you make it like long, how it is against the sunnah and everything. So in this hadith, he is telling us about that. So hadith قال, Allah will not look on the day of judgment at him who lets his garment drag on the ground out of pride and arrogance. So here the illah, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the reason why it's haram to drag one garment on the floor. Which is, we know, it's not for the sisters. Because the hadith of Salama, when she was working, the Prophet ﷺ told her, that's how, the part of the abaya or what we, wearing will be dragging on the floor. If what it get impurity, he said whatever after it will pure it, which is the dust and the thing, which is mean a dalil and evidence that they have long garments. طيب لا ينظر الله سبحانه وتعالى إلى من جر ثوبه خيلا. The illah here is very clear. The reason why it's prohibited is to drag it out of arrogance. It's very clear. However, it is still a sunnah. See the difference? For example, brushing the teeth with a miswak. It is highly recommended sunnah, right? What is the reason? Is to keep the teeth cleaned. Okay. If you use the toothbrush, are you fulfilling the sunnah or not? You're filling the heart of the sunnah. But if you use the miswak, you fulfill the whole sunnah. It's like this is how the Prophet did it. You see? It does not mean that you are missing the sunnah when you're washing. I mean, this is for the reason to use the miswak. That's what they had at that time to keep, brush their teeth. But that sense of loving the Prophet, following the Prophet, To do the miswak is like you are mimicking the same action that the Prophet ﷺ did. It said, كَانَ يَشُوسُ يُمْنَةً. So there is, subhanAllah, another aspect of. But some of the scholars, they're saying, to do the aspect of the sunnah, the reason for it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for it. But to do that extra part, because of the love of the Prophet, because of trying to do everything that he did, you will have somewhere, of course, more reward for that such aspect. For here we have two aspects. The aspect that we have the dragging of the garment to be haram because for whomever did it in way of arrogance and boastfulness. Right? However, if someone have it, but is not doing it in arrogance way, is still committing the haram according to this hadith? No. If someone keep shorten the garment, he's still getting the reward? Yes, he's still, because it is the sunnah in the original is to have it. But it cannot be the standard and the norm for other people, because to tell them what are you doing is wrong. Because only if you have the evidence that that person did it out of arrogance, that it's haram. Now, how can we answer that this person didn't do it out of arrogance? Because in the social context, we answer us. Before people they are poor before. So barely they have something to cover their hour. So how they know a person is rich is by the long garment. So those who make it the longer their garment is, they know to be the richer they are. And some of them, they do it out of arrogance, of showing them. Well, and you look, for example, when there is a parade of a king and a queen, they have her garment, they have is out, goes like a mile away, and people, they hold it. So that's the big arrogance you see there. For the hadith, I give you the summary of the study of this hadith, and how the taqeed with the khuyala, and how Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he had a garment that was, dragging on the floor, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, come to ask forgiveness and things. He said, no, not you, Ya Abu Bakr. So these all hadith help us, inshallah, when we study them, to have a full opinion on this matter, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and to be very balanced in it, inshallah, after studying it. And we'll stop here as we have promised you 20 minutes. Jazakumullah. If you have any question, you are welcome.